Hello everyone, Gamertag here, and we are back with our second starter in Pokemon Kanto as we go through Pokemon Red version with just Charmander. It only made sense since we did Bulbasaur last, which was at the beginning of the year, so a while ago, but I wanted to do all of these in order, especially since the first of the year meant first Pokemon being Bulbasaur, and even at the end of that video I said we'd do Charmander. It kind of would have felt weird going out of order anyway. So Charmander has your standard level up moves, but outside of Flamethrower, I'm most excited for Swords Dance and Dig. Dig is as strong as Earthquake in Gen 1, and that's going to be incredible. Especially since we're immune to everything that isn't Swift. Yeah, it's crazy. We name our Charmander Cyndaquil, because Cyndaquil and Charmander have the exact same stats despite being 2 generations apart. It's just like looking into a mirror. It's honestly crazy that they're the same. I mean, Chikorita is different from Bulbasaur, and Totodile is different from Squirtle. Why couldn't they just make Cyndaquil physical? Honestly, I think it would have benefited Typhlosion given its movesets. Anyway, we're at the early game, which means we're just basically taking out a bunch of bug types until we train up for Brock, who I don't expect to be too bad. Most rock types have awful special in this game, and we're primarily a special attacker, at least until we get Slash, and Dig, and Body Slam. But we can also find stuff like the potion that I never knew existed when I was a kid. When I was a kid, we didn't have ways to look up all this cool stuff, so knowing it all now is just really neat. Alright, so Brock was really easy, to probably the surprise of absolutely nobody. We took basically no damage, at least not on Geodude, and took the same amount of damage against Brock's Onix, which is perfectly fine because it was an easy first try victory. The nice thing too is we had Growl, so when he used Bide, we just had to not attack. Really easy fight, but we're going to be hitting a mini roadblock soon because our next gym is the Water Gym. Since we've beaten Brock though, we can go east of Pewter and take out some trainers with a level 16 Cyndaquil. Now, normally Cyndaquil would evolve at level 14, but this isn't actually a Cyndaquil, it's a Charmander. And it's also a starter run, and we're keeping it first stage anyway, but we're gonna need all the training we can get for Misty. I honestly expect her Starmie to just destroy us with a Bubble Beam, probably quite a few times. And we'll probably need Dig, but honestly, I don't even know if we beat her until we get Slash. I mean, Dig is pretty strong, so we'll have to see how it goes. But before we get to Cerulean, we're going to pick up the Helix Fossil. It's the easiest fossil to get since it's just one step, but I also just find myself picking the Helix Fossil all the time anyway. Gotta make Lord Helix happy, you know? The rival in Cerulean City wasn't too bad, at least for Pidgeotto. We burned him, never got hit with Sand Attack, and Abra didn't do anything. Rattata though did a little bit more almost called Eradicate for a second. It did more damage than I hoped it would do, and I was really worried when Squirtle came out because its Water Gun took out half of our remaining health. But thanks to him just using Tackle to leave us on 1 health, and just not using Bubble, we ended up winning. If he would have used Bubble that second time, we would have lost. But hey, I will take the win because I was a little worried. With the rival defeated, we can take out the trainers on Nugget Bridge. It's honestly really easy to fight them, but we also need to get through this point to get Dig anyway. But enough of that, let's get destroyed by Misty. See if we get destroyed by Misty. So she X-Defends Staryu, which means it's a 2-shot, and then we get destroyed by a Bubble Beam. Okay, well, maybe if she doesn't crit the Water Gun, or use an X-Defend. We ended up getting an extra level and trying again, and we now outsped Starmie, which was really important, and I think that's a big difference, but then we somehow lived on 3 health and survived Bubble Beam and got the win. I thought we were doomed. Because she did 45 with the Bubble Beam before, and we were only a level higher, but I will take that win. We ended up getting Slash on our way to the rival on the SSN, so he was incredibly easy and we didn't even take any damage until Wartortle came out. Wartortle survived the slash just because of its natural bulk and defense, but we landed on a very nice amount of health and got the win and took very minimal damage. I expected this because Slash just crits like crazy because it's based off of our speed and Charmander's fast. Lieutenant Surge, I'm just gonna breeze through this battle just like he did using his X speeds. He never even, I mean, he wasn't gonna attack because we outspeed, but at least make an effort. The only time he made an effort to attack was use Thunderbolt when he outsped us after the X speed. I don't know why Surge is like this, but at least trying to attack can make you feel a little bit better, right? I mean, it's not like he knows I have Dig. They don't know our movesets, at least I'm pretty sure they don't. Anyway, after destroying the better Brock in Rock Tunnel, we can go take out our rival in the Pokemon Tower. I know I've seen some people do this fight before they do all the Team Rocket stuff, but it's kind of along the way. And I also feel like since we'll be at a lower level, it potentially gives for a much more interesting fight since we're at a lower level. Unfortunately, the fight was 0% interesting because the only thing that did damage again was Wartortle. Okay, we're Fire type. We gotta see how this Grass Gym goes. Victory Bell, we just Flamethrower, and then she Super Potions. Not gonna lie, if she would have paralyzed us, that could have been very problematic because everything would have outsped us because Speed in Gen 1 can make a Rhydon outspeed a Starmie. Tangela and Vileplume were both one-shots with Flamethrower, so I'm not sure if we just low-rolled against the Victory Bell, but hey. Also, since we're at the halfway point, don't forget to comment for the algorithm. And of course, if you're enjoying the video, like and subscribe. Subscribing really helps out our channel, but so does commenting. Giovanni decided that he would just spam guard specs for both of his rock types. Then when Kangaskhan came out, he used Rage. Rage is one of the worst Gen 1 moves in history. When you use it, you're locked into it for the entirety of the battle, unless you switch. At least I think you can switch in Rage. I don't know because I'm not going to use that awful of a move. But if it misses, you're never going to land another attack and you are virtually hosed. Alright, so Koga did take me a couple tries, and the main reason is because we had to find a different strategy. You can see that Flamethrower is not hitting incredibly hard, albeit it is taking out his Pokemon like his Coughing, and Muck's not really doing anything because of an X attack. But we ended up having to cheese with Fire Spin. And when I say that, it means you use the broken mechanic of Fire Spin that doesn't allow them to attack when it hits. So we ended up making it to Weezing. We trapped him for like 2 or 3 turns. And we even ended up critting, and that allowed Flamethrower to finish him off. Flamethrower just wasn't doing enough damage, and he would always end up just hitting a Sludge and that'd do too much, or he would blow up. Now, generally the rival in Silphco can be difficult. However, in this case, we have Swords Dance and Body Slam now. As you can see, we did replace Slash. As much as I like Slash, and I love the fact that it crits so much, crits take away any boosts, whether we have attack boosts, defense boosts, or if they have attack and defense boosts. It takes away everything. And if we're going to be using Swords Dance, we can't be having all these crits. It ends up working out beautifully. I mean, we did take a pretty big water gun at the end there, but we ended up winning on our first try with no issues. Alright, let's see if Giovanni uses more guard specs, because I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. Alright, so Nidorino is first. We just use Dig, and oh look, a guard spec. Where have I seen this strategy before? Kangaskhan is a one-shot with Flamethrower. Rhyhorn misses Horn Attack as we dig underground, then he uses his favorite guard spec, and then goes down. His guard specs are not going to protect him from his awful decision making. At least Nidoqueen, actually used Poison Sting, but like, dude, he's used more guard specs than we've probably used Flamethrowers. Well, he might as well be. This is your reminder that Safari Balls are completely worthless. We can't even catch a Nidoran female, And we even failed this execute that ran after one ball. Yeah, go in there and get surf, and just leave. Just use the Cinnabar Island glitch and just catch everything that way. You'll spend more money, but it will be way better. Trust me. Sabrina was incredibly easy because we have Swords Dance. We just Swords Dance, Body Slam everything that isn't Venomoth that goes down to Flamethrower, and take virtually no damage. I mean, her team's really frail. Flamethrower just wasn't going to cut it anyway, so this was a fight I expected. Alright, let's get everyone's favorite gym leader out of the way, Blaine. Growlithe uses Agility, we dig. We dig, Super Potion on Ponyta. Rapidash also does a Super Potion thanks to the retroactive Super Potion, and they just kind of pick their moves based off what we're doing since we're attacking. Arcanine hits Takedown, but it doesn't really do that much. We take him out easily, getting us the 7th badge. Alright, last Giovanni fight. How many guard specs is he going to use? Okay, well, he stomps. We dig. There's a guard spec, and dig takes him out. Dugtrio, we're just going to one-shot with Body Slam. No need to use dig. Nidoqueen, we're going to go underground. She misses Scratch, and it goes down with a single dig. Nidoking is also going to be a one-shot. Nidoqueen's pretty bulky, but Nidoking not so much. Easy one-shot. Rhydon lives. He uses a second guard spec. And then we take him out with a Disrespect Flamethrower because, bro, this was warranted. With all the guard specs, I had to just give him the worst move we could give him. I mean, I guess Body Slam would have been worse, but we boosted our attack, so Flamethrower. Alright, last rival fight before the Pokemon League. We Swords Dance is Pidgeot goes for Wing Attack and then a Whirlwind that won't work in battle unless it's wild. Rhyhorn, almost call it Rhydon, is a one-shot with Dig. Growlithe is a one-shot with a critical Body Slam, but easily would have been a one-shot regardless. Executes a one-shot with Flamethrower. Alakazam is a one-shot with Body Slam. Blastoise, instead of attacking, it missed Hydro Pump, and then goes for Withdraw. It does allow him to live, but just a second Withdraw does nothing. Now, if you're wondering why he used Withdraw, for any of you that have never seen a Gen 1 video, Withdraw is a water move, and the good AI considers it good since it's water, and it would generally be super effective. But with that out of the way, we can head towards the Pokemon League. I'm not massively worried about the Pokemon League. I mean, Agatha will have Dig, Bruno will have Dig, but our first fight is Lorelei, and that could be a bit problematic. She has really good bulk on her team, and Cloyster's special is much higher in this game since it goes off of what is now its special attack. And we have really good stats, as you can see here, but I'm more surprised at how high our attack is. Or maybe it's how low our special is. They're very close in Gen 1 since it's going off what would be Charmander's special defense. But honestly, this is the best move pool we could get. I mean, Body Slam is great, Dig is needed, and Flamethrower and Swords Dance are pretty obvious. But I don't really know how Lorelei is going to go. I'm kind of expecting some problems here because she has a lot of bulk. And, yeah, also, this isn't the actual fight. I started doing the fight and then realized that I forgot to buy healing items. And we're kind of going to need that in between fights. Alright, now we can get into the real fight. So she's going to lead a Dugong. Now, her Dugong does not know any water moves, but it does have Rest. Now, we might be able to use Rest to our advantage, and you can see it does fail since we didn't actually attack her. But what's interesting is that AI Pokemon do not actually lose any power points unless they're in the wild, which is crazy. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, we do lose to Cloyster, which I did say would be a problem. Alright, a few tries later, and we're able to set up Swords Dance as we take a takedown. We set up a second Swords Dance as she rests off her recoil damage, but it ends up working out great as we just take her out with 2 Flamethrowers. Cloyster comes out and we luck out by just critting Flamethrower, which definitely mattered, but that actually might have saved us big time since we didn't take any damage. Slowbro goes for Withdraw a couple times, eventually goes for Water Gun, which misses since we're underground, but we're able to finish it off with a Body Slam. Jinx is a one-shot with Flamethrower. Last is Lapras, who had me worried. We Flamethrower. She hits a massive Hydro Pump, taking us to 18 health, but thankfully our 100 power Dig is enough to finish off Lapras, getting us the win. Took a few tries, but not as many as I thought it was going to take. Next up is Fighting and Rock Trainer Bruno. I still think he should have more fighting types like Primeape and Poliwrath. But anyway, his Onix aren't really going to be a problem. They don't have any super effective moves. And Onix attack is pretty weak anyway. It's honestly one of the worst Gen 1 Pokemon. Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan are both one-shots with Flamethrower and Body Slam. The second Onix is a one-shot with Dig. And Machamp just uses Focus Energy, which actually halves your crit ratio in Gen 1 because it's a bug. I know, it's problems in Gen 1, who knew? But a really easy time. For Agatha, we're going to set up a Swords Dance on her Gengar, and she thankfully goes for Dream Eater, allowing us now with our +2 attack to one-shot Gengar number 1. Golbat, we thankfully paralyze, and she's unable to move. I was very scared she might use Haze, or confuse us, which neither would have been good. Haunter and Arbok are going to be one-shots with Dig, as well as the final Gengar also being a one-shot with Dig. Man, this went just as expected. I was really worried our first Gengar would confuse us or put us to sleep. Lance, though, Lance was a different story. Hydro Pump from Gyarados absolutely hurts. Thankfully on this attempt, which took several tries, we did get both of them to miss, and his first Dragonair just slams us with a critical Hyper Beam. Bringing us very low in health, we set up our third Body Slam, which will allow us to one-shot the Dragonair, but Aerodactyl outspeeds us and takes us out. Okay, well, we're going to have to get at least a couple levels, maybe. As long as we outspeed Aerodactyl, we might be okay. So, again, we are able to avoid both Hydro Pumps from Gyarados, thankfully. We go right back to Swords Dance on his Dragonair as he decides that he's going to go for Dragon Rage. A little annoying, but I guess it's not the worst thing. That allows us to... Oh, well, we crit the second Dragonair, so that's not going to one-shot. But it didn't matter, he didn't attack. We end up critting on Aerodactyl, and you can see how little it does with the crit. Thankfully, though, because he has to recharge, we take him out, but we're very low in health. But shout out to Dragonite being the real MVP of this battle by not even attacking when he could have won, giving us the win. With that, it's finally time for the Pokemon Champion. So we're going to Flamethrower Pidgeot, just a 2-shot, as he's going for Sky Attack. And I'm really glad that we did choose that because we wouldn't have one-shot him. Alakazam comes out as we take a very ballsy move going for Swords Dance. He could have blasted us with Psychic, but he doesn't. We take him out with a Body Slam. Rhydon, we just go for the second Swords Dance as his Leer is modifying our stats. Now let me explain. So, anytime you have any stat boost, stat drops, and have all the odd-numbered badges, all of your other stats outside of the stat being modified are also modified. Exeggutor is a 2-shot with Flamethrower. Are we actually going to first try this? Okay, we crit Blastoise, that's fine. We just need him to miss Hydro Pump and not crit a second time. You have got... No! 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 Alright, fine. I guess we'll have to try again. It's not a big deal. So he Mirror moves and Flamethrowers doing nothing. Since it's resisted. We just go for Body Slam on Alakazam as he recovers. I was hoping for a Paralyze, but that's okay. And you can see it is a speed tie. But this time we paralyze Alakazam, outspeeding to take it out. Now that Rhydon is out, hitting Tail Whip, we can now just hit all of our Swords Dances and max out our attack. He goes for Leer when we're underground, and I kind of wish he would have just went for that and actually would have landed. Arcanine is a one-shot with Dig, but Exeggutor, of course, is going to live, put us to sleep, and stomp. Okay, well, we just have to wake up. This will be okay. Okay, he's going to hit, how many? 4, 5. Okay, 5 hits. Okay, well, we woke up. As long as he doesn't hit us 5 times, he won't take us... Okay. Okay, you've got to be kidding me. This is some voodoo right now. This has to be. Okay, several tries later, and we finally get a great start since we got blasted with Psybeam on the turn before. and then lost to Arcanine on the battle before that, since another crit. This time we get hit with a Psybeam from Alakazam after setting up a Swords Dance. We set up the rest of them on Rhydon as he's just going for Horn Drill, which can't affect. Horn Drill can only work if you're higher level, the same level, or you outspeed. He is neither. Arcanine is a one-shot with Dig, and Exeggutor comes out as we Body Slam hoping to paralyze, and then he crits a Stomp. This has definitely been our Achilles heel here, but thankfully, Blastoise throws the fight by going for withdraw as we can take him out with our last Body Slam and get the win. Man, that champion fight was actually pain. I did not expect to lose to each of his last 3 Pokemon just because of an unfortunate untimed crit. But with this challenge done and out of the way, our next will be the last Kanto starter, Squirtle, through Pokemon Red. As always, leave suggestions down below in the comment section. And I'm really curious to see what you guys come up with. I have seen our good Gen 2 challenge also submitted on a video, so that will be at some point in the near future. But with that, if you guys enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. And of course, like the video. Because that's also important too, especially if you want to watch it again and you really enjoyed it. But I just want to say thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day.